Hello and welcome to another episode of the Crate 808 podcast, and today we're honoured to bring you a true UK hip-hop legend, Orifice Vulgatron from Foreign Beggars. As anyone who's been following the game for the last few decades will know, Vulgatron and the group have been trailblazing and crossing over into the arenas of dubstep and electronica for a minute now, giving the UK hip-hop landscape a truly unique flavour whilst doing so. From working with Skrillex and Noisia to merging with grime and drum and bass, Vulgatron is a standout character from the scene, and we're blessed to have him on the show. Hailing from Dubai before moving to London in the 90s, he's got a distinctive view on the way hip-hop has grown on a global scale, especially in regards to other musical genres. So, without further ado, let's get into the chat. Another episode of Crate 808. I'm here with Orifice Vulgatron from Foreign Beggars. How's it going?
Yeah, good, bro. How you doing? You right?
Thank you for blessing us with your presence, man.
It's a pleasure, man. I got one job, really. You know what I'm saying? To represent this rap music. So, you know, you're helping me do my job.
That's it, man. That's it. Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah.
So,
man.
First thing we always ask all our guests, mate. What's the least hip hop thing you've done in the last 24 hours?
In the last 24 hours, probably dried my laundry properly. You know what I'm saying? Folded the shirts, folded the t-shirts.
Nice.
Just saying, there's a lot of swag there, so I guess it's kind of hip hop. But yeah, what else? I went to Lidl, bro.
Lidl,
yeah,
nice.
I went to Lidl.
You don't see many ballers in Lidl, innit?
Well, you know, you never know. You never know who you're going to be walking by. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, bruv, I was well impressed, man. Because I've only ever popped into Lidl. Do you know what I'm saying? But I went there, took the IKEA bag to Lidl. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not using the plastic bags.
Like it.
And bruv, I was just, it's them ones when you go in the supermarket and you're just like, you're kind of semi like post-wave hungry, and you're just like, you don't even know what you need, so you get everything. You know what I mean? So I just filled up the whole shopping crate.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool. This is going to be a bit of a wound, man. I was expecting some kind of £160 bill. But I was like, you know what? I'm stocking up. I'm going to be saving money because I'm going to be eating. And anyway, it came out to £44. And I was like, this is crazy, bro. Like, they make Tesco's look like Waitrose. You know what I'm saying? It's trippy. I was surprised. I thought, maybe this a bit, this might be cheaper. That might be more expensive. But
yeah,
I'm not going to Tesco's anymore, man. Lidl all the way,
I'll
bro.
tell you what, man. Lidl sliced meat game.
Yeah.
Sliced meat in Lidl.
Bruv, I got the different antipasti selections.
That's what I'm talking
about. Different chorizo. And I mean, I know it's Ramadan. I'm not supposed to be talking about chorizo, but I'm Hindu anyway, so I circumvented that one. But yeah, but then afterwards I popped into Iceland, bought like my non-meat beef burgers kind of thing, trying to do my part for the environment, like traditionally I've eaten meat every single meal, so I'm just trying to, be man, a bit more socially conscious, Yeah.
So, man, first of all, I know you've been on the scene for a minute, yeah?
Yeah.
Because we're all here about 90s hip-hop, yeah?
Uh-huh.
I just want to know, first of all, how you got into the game. Like, what was your introduction to hip-hop? Like, how did you get into it?
Bro, I think, having been born in the 80s, I think music we kind of got conscious really young because my mom was into music, so she showed us a lot of, she was really passionate about heavy metal and hard rock, so she showed us about, Rat and Motley Crue and bands like that as early as like 83, 84, like 3, 4, 5 years old,
Is that how mum's going on? Motley
yeah,
Crue?
bro. My mum's she's only 20 years older than me, and she grew up in San Francisco in the 70s. So she was like, she's giving me all my rock and roll. Do you know what I'm saying?
Love that.
From a baby. So like, we were kind of, music wasn't a background thing. Music was the thing that you fucking love and play loud in the house, So she showed us all of that stuff, all the Michael Jackson from early, you know what I'm saying, Prince, all of those movements, she was like, that's Bobby Brown, so she was really open-minded with it. I mean, I remember MC Hammer and shit when that stuff was out, and it was really cool, but I think my first real introduction to hip-hop was between Public Enemy and, like, I remember hearing the Public Enemy tapes first because her best friend worked for CBS Epic in California, and we grew up in Dubai, so she used to send us in the promo department, so every few months we would just get a big fat box of promos, so you get the Alice in Chains CDs in there, and you get the Public Enemy CDs at the same time, and you get this and that, and it was real nice.
That's sick diverse, mate.
So that was Public Enemy was like, I was banging it, but I think I was a little bit young, and it was like, it's quite like up front, it was quite hard,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I remember hearing it, but I don't think there was like a proper public. I think because we were so into the heavy metal at the time, I think it was like the Public Enemy Anthrax track that really, you know, bring the noise. Yeah. So that one was like one of the first early like mind blowing ones. And there was another one where like, you know, my friend's older brother had, or you know, he had like the Eazy-E, NWA, Two Live Crew tapes, and hearing that shit, you know, I think like America's Most Wanted, you know, the Ice Cube album with Gangsta Fairy Tale on it, and hearing a kid who sounded younger than us swearing on the track was like, going, yo, you know. So I think that was like some of our first. I think hearing that's when, you know, I really started to understand lyrics and rhymes and concepts and subversive shit, you know, in the music. So I think that's when, you know, the concept of how rap music works kind of really entered my brain. And obviously it was from a super kind of subversive angle, you know, so kind of that set the pace and set the tone for everything that we've ever done. But yeah, I think those tapes, I think Eazy-E, Two Live Crew, Ice Cube, NWA, Public Enemy was my first intros. And I remember at the time my mum showed me Faith No More, and they had this track called Epic, where he's kind of rapping on there, and it's like a metal rap kind of crossover thing, and that's some of my earliest memories, especially from about like 89 to 91.
So you were in Dubai, right?
Yeah.
So what's your access like over there in Dubai, like to these kind of tapes and stuff?
Back in the days, it was crazy because everything was pirated back then, you know. All the tapes, you go to a music store and they're called Thompson Originals, but they're just pirated tapes. So it'd just be the cover on like a little one sleeve on a pirated tape, but it's like the official brand. So anything that was in the Billboard charts, anything was top 40, they literally just used to just get that music, mass produce, pirate it, and then sell it all over the whole GCC. So there was like hundreds of music stores everywhere.
Damn.
But everything was pirated. But the thing is, they had real hard censorship laws back then, even to the point where you go to a supermarket and you see a Cosmopolitan magazine or a Vogue magazine and there's a bit of cleavage, it'll be blacked out with a black marker. So, you know, there's lots of censorship laws, but then inevitably, just because they were mass pirating the stuff from Billboard and what have you, obviously certain things would slip through, you know, cause like when Two Live Crew, that album banned in the USA, you know what I mean, it was banned, but it went to top 10, obviously it was in the chart, so bang, it slipped through the net. Those kind of things, you know, we'd find them here and there, you know. So this is like even before parental advisory stickers were out, you know. So yeah, I guess, you know what I mean, like I think not having access to shit just makes you want it more and makes you geek out. And plus all of the, you know, them days before the internet, that was the culture of finding music, you know. You'd really like seek stuff out and be interested, and you'd have to learn about it, you know, and then fall in love with things and then want to know more, and, you know, speak to people and converse and share music. So there was that culture within like being a music fan anyway, but also having that next level of detachment from access to, you couldn't walk into Our Price or Tower Records and go to the metal section and see what all the new bands are, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You wouldn't even get the magazines out there, but yeah, so it was good, man. It kind of like made you really want to seek shit out.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So your love was there from childhood, man, because your
bro,
mums
come on,
like
man.
That. That's it.
Bruv, like, you know, we're fucking, you know, imagine being 4 years old and Michael Jackson drops Beat It, do you know what I'm saying? Bruv, it was the illest shit in the world, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
man, definitely.
You know.
So what was your step then? What was your step from like listening to like actually thinking, do you know what? I'm going to make something. I'm going to make something out of this.
I think, again, coming back to the metal side, so like, you know, doing that, we always wanted to be in a band from when we were kids. You know, me and my brothers were like, yeah, going to figure out ways how to do it. So coming to about, you know, like 10, 11, 12, you know, we got a first electric guitar and shit, and my brother was playing drums. There was 3 of us, you know, 4 of us, but me and my 2 younger brothers. So already we were bang, you know, playing in a band from when we were like 12, 13, recording our first demos, 14, studio, that kind of shit.
That's young, man.
That's
young.
Bro. We were in, bro. We were in. And it was like serious death metal as well.
Tell me some of them track names. You got any of them track names from back in the day?
Yeah, fuck. All right, cool. There was a track called End of Life. Yeah. The band was called Morbus, which means disease in Latin. Yeah.
Oh,
and we had a track called Morbus Ingravescit, which means the disease is getting worse. Yeah.
It's going dark, bro.
You know, so yeah, come on, bro. It was serious, like, you know, grindcore shit.
I like it though.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, we were listening to bands like Dayside and Napalm Death and Obituary, you know, like, you know, classic.
That's weird, because what's that, early 90s, right? Let's say early 90s.
Yeah, this is 1990, 91.
So already then, are you seeing that marriage between like rap and rock? Are you seeing that marriage, or are you just like going with your heart?
Come on, bro. I mean, like, we don't. I mean, music was all sick at that time. Do you know what I'm saying? You put on the radio, you'd hear amazing rock music, and then, you know, you'd hear amazing, you know, rap music right next to it. You know, and it's like things weren't super divided up. But the thing is, like, Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, you know what I mean? Like, we heard the Aerosmith Run DMC thing, you know? So it was kind of, like, mind-blowing to see, like, rap, rock, you know, metal crossovers, you know? Yeah, it was not, I think, like, that Anthrax Public Enemy just, you know, from hearing that Faith No More stuff, you know, it was really nice to see people crossing over and then Onyx collaborating with Biohazard and stuff like that. Yeah. But I think, for me, when I moved over here when I was 10, but I think I was about 13 or 14, I really started to understand graffiti. Okay. And Onyx from Dark Circle, we went to school with him, and he was already kind of rapping, but he was really, really into his graffiti. Yeah, it was kind of crazy, and that was like myself and Pera, my best friend at the time. You know, he actually came up with the name for our album, Silent Speakers. He did all the Foreign Beggars graphics till you know, like
sweet.
To this day. Anyway, we were in school together, and then that's when we fully started to understand style and you know the whole ethos and concept behind graffiti and getting up and understanding, like, you know, hip hop isn't something that just happens. You know, you understand the disciplines and the respect, what's dope, what's whack, you know, where the barometer is, you know what I mean? And understanding the parameters and understanding how to appreciate people fucking breaking, you know, bounds, you know? That was really educational for us. And like Onyx, because it was a boarding school in Kent, and Onyx, he was like a fucking golden boy there, you know? So like he was like a scholar. He was a cross-country runner. He'd never done art before in his life, but he started school. He was a fucking genius, and they made him an art scholar as well. So he was like this, you know, they fucking loved him, basically. But at night, he used to break out and go bombing and paint everywhere. So, like, seeing that shit, you know what I mean? It was fucking ill for us, you know? It was like... And he taught us about style and, you know, taught us about, you know, when it's acceptable to actually be getting up in public and not be, you know, like, you know what I mean? That kind of shit, you know? So that was really, like, you know, instrumental. But then I think it was after I left and I went back to Dubai that I met a couple of kids that I knew, and we were kicking it. And one dude from San Diego was there, and then we were just all sitting around chilling, and then they just broke out their raps and they started spitting, and I was like, yo, I could fucking do this. I was like, but I didn't have any of my own bars, so I just felt like, I was like, nah, fuck this. So I went home and just wrote, and yeah, that was the first time I decided, you know, I'm gonna do this rap.
And how old were you then?
I was 16.
16, right?
96.
So what's bumping on the radio at that time, hip hop wise, like for you?
Shit, bro. I mean, it was when I think it was around the time, I don't know if Biggie'd come out yet.
I think 96 probably was, yeah.
But it was like it was kind of super early. So I think what we were banging was I think one of the most important albums for me at the time. I was listening to Redman, Muddy Waters.
Oh, sweet.
A lot of Boot Camp Click, a lot of early Outkast stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Listening to, like, you know, a lot of raucous stuff that was happening, like Thurston Howell the Third. You know, that kind of stuff. And then fucking Funk Crusher Plus, man. And then Funk Crusher Plus came out and flipped the whole game up. We were listening to all the DJ Barbu mixtapes, J-Rock.
You were deep in the game, man. That's deep in the game.
I mean, like, we've been geeking on hip. I mean, like, you know, from like that NWA shit clicked, and then, you know, understanding and then seeing when the Chronic came out, and we'd already been listening to hip hop for 4 years before Doggy Style came out, you know. And this is a couple of years later. I mean, like, I think one of the most important things for me anyway was because I left UK and went back to Dubai. When I started rhyming, I'd already been listening. I'd heard the Brotherhood album, you know, Brotherhood Elementals. It's a UK album that got signed to Virgin, and it's a fucking really, really special album, you know.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna check that.
Yeah, bro, it's wicked, bro. It's really dope, man. You know, and it's like hearing that album and the beats and the way they were flipping the English accent and, you know, kind of representing it. Hearing that, going back to Dubai. I think it was just after my brothers came back, and, you know, they brought back the Mud Fam tapes. Actually, you know what? I lie. Like, when I was listening to Brotherhood, I'd heard Black Twang as well. So I heard the Black Twang, all the super early Tony Rotten Black Twang stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool, this is it. You know, I understood. You know, like, I never felt like I had to put a fake accent on. You know,
that's
you
good shit.
Represent where you're from. You know.
Yeah.
So coming back, and then I heard Mud Family. Yeah, and the way they were going on, so raggo at the time, and I was like, okay, fuck, this is like, you know. So it was like Brotherhood, Black Twang, Mud Family, Skinny, Task Force, Mongo.
Yeah,
and then Roots Maneuver.
All sick lyricists. All of it. The lyrics are.
But that was the levels. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't just be a mediocre guy and have a career back in them days. You know what I mean? Like, you had to be like individual and you had to excel. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you had to like already have put 10 years of honing your craft, honing your styling before you even came out as a rapper. You know.
So tell me this. You know, for me, it sounds like you were like in the metal scene, the death metal scene, as well as like the hip hop scene. Even back then, was there like massive differences between the two scenes, or was it like actually quite similar shit? Or
to be honest with you, I wasn't in the metal scene. I was a metal fan, and because I lived in Dubai and then we went to this secluded school in the middle of Kent, I wasn't really in the scene. You know, we were immersed in the music. You know, that was like, and I think that's also a blessing, like not having a scene around you, because you don't get involved in all the random bullshit politics. You don't get the gratification of, I was hanging out with so and so the other day and telling stories. You know what I'm saying? So it's like everything that you do here is just like the crystallized excellence, you know, that comes through. So it's like when you kind of set the bar for yourself, you're setting the bar alongside the greatest records that are coming out at the time, as opposed to like any old fucking Tom, Dick and Harry that you're ciphering with, or dealing with like random egos around the place and shit. So it was kind of important for us to not be part of the scene, I think, like when you're in a developmental phase of your, apprenticeship or to the artistry or whatever the fuck it is, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to sound cheesy, but...
There is an element, man.
Yeah.
Again, I wasn't part of any scene. I was like in a little village in Yorkshire, mate.
Yeah.
Like I was in a little village. The scene was me, mate. That was it. There was like no brown people near me, no nothing. I think like it was just the source and hip hop connection were the things that I like kind of got me and Westwood, and that was it. And it was like once I got Yo MTV Raps and mum and dad got that on the go, I was like, oh okay, now this is a bit more. So I see what you mean, man. When you're not part of it, you're kind of free. You're freewheeling to put your own take on things, which is heavy, man. So how did Foreign Beggars come about then? Because that was like turn of the century, right? Or like a bit before?
Nah, I'll tell you what. So from being in Dubai, 96, 97, starting, rapping and throwing parties and doing shows out there, like it was small. We used to throw our own parties or go to other people's house parties or just like a little illegal parties that, we throw because we were all underage. We got into drum and bass in 97. All the kids, is a very expat community in Dubai, so kids would travel out and they would get all of the shit and come back home and everybody be sharing stuff every few months, so there wasn't much to do there, so everybody was just fully into music, so everyone was in a band, everyone was doing this, doing that, so it was a real nice kind of healthy culture. So we got into drum and bass, started throwing drum and bass parties in about 97 over there. It was that era when Stevie Hyper D was alive. It was like 95, 96, 97, all the roast tapes, all the just before One Nation started doing their thing. It was around, that era of like Helter Skelter telepathy kind of shit. And like obviously because that's a UK style, that really fucking resonated with me. So we started doing that, and then I moved back to London in 99 with Dag Nabbit, the original producer, and we had a dream to move to London to start a label, and it was going to be a drum and bass label to start with, but we'd been making hip hop for a lot longer, so that was ready to go first. I went to uni from 16 to 2021, did 2 different degrees, left them both. I mean, I learned a lot, and I think I owe a lot in my career to what I learned, But so I left when I was 21 to do music full time. But then about like a year, by the end of 2002, we had the Foreign Beggars records ready to go. Yeah, it was literally a year of searching, figuring out what are we going to do, making tracks, learning, speaking to people, getting dicked around.
Oh, serious?
More until we got to the point where like, right, fuck it, we're doing it ourselves. Decided to drop it ourselves. And and that was when we dropped Where Did the Sun Go? Like finally got the vinyls pressed pretty much end of 2002. So the release date was the 1st of the 2nd of the 3rd, which was quite sick. Like first of February 2003 was the date, was the date that we dropped that 12. So yeah, it was crazy, man.
Sweet. So Foreign Beggars, man. Yeah. You've been on a journey, mate, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I remember first hearing you, because again, you talk about all these scenes, and because I was in this very insular, like my thing into punk was like Nirvana. Yeah. And that was it, and the charts were dictating to me what I'm listening to until I went into uni, and it was like, no, there's all these other people like Fugazi and Black Flag, and it's like, I came in late, like I'm 19, isn't it? When I got into UK hip-hop properly, turn of the century, mate. Like Black Swan before that, and then Skinny Man and all these people that I was listening to, and then Kalashnikov's album, all these things kind of happened at once for me. Yeah. And that's when I heard you boys. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, like I'm not gonna lie, man, it was the way you were spitting on that track. I was like, okay, I've not heard that kind of voice before. Yeah. And then just as a young mind, as soon as you see someone who's Asian doing that thing, I was like, oh, okay. I had like the only thing that Asian slightly hip hop that I was into is Punjabi MC. Yeah. So the Punjabi MC early tapes, I would rinse them, mate. We'd go to like my family's in West Midlands, Birmingham, Walsall area. Yeah. Be in Walsall in them little them little Hindi shops.
I need to hear that.
Do you know what I mean? Oh my,
I
serious?
haven't fully checked the OG Punjabi MC stuff. Man, I haven't.
I was on trying to get some media file links or whatever the other day online. Just like, I need to get that album again. I only had it on tape. Cannot find it anywhere. I'm sure it'll be on some Reddit forum somewhere, but That's I remember that being the thing where I was like, oh snap, there's Asians up in this scene,
Yeah, man.
actually making music. Like you go to the shows and you see bare Asians. That's different. But you wouldn't really see them on the mic, or what I respected, which was lyricism. So clearly, when I heard you, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is heavy. This is now something I like." And the reason I think like Foreign Beggars for me have always stuck out in the UK scene is you boys ain't scared to do nothing different.
Nah,
like you're linking up with like you even linked up with Skrillex, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
So how did that come about? Like I'm seeing all this stuff where I'm like, whoa, these boys are like really going. I didn't know your influences are this deep. Now I'm talking to you, I understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the way that I'd seen it as a kid, and I mean, like you see a band, you put it out, they put an album out, and then they go on tour, and then they do shows, but then they do a world tour. You know what I mean? So that's what I always thought I was going to do. I was going to, put a track out and then go down to local cypher and spit, and that's good enough for me. You know what I mean? I was like, everything was a stepping stone to. But yeah, the Skrillex thing's kind of interesting, man, because I had some visa complications in about 2010. I got turned away at Garden Nord. I still have an Indian passport, right?
Right.
And we'd already been working with Noisier at this point, so we had some European shows. So literally, I'd call the guys on the train, said, that shit that can happen. Yeah, it just fucking happened. So anyway, so like I stayed in Paris for a couple of days with my peoples there, and then we had some shows in Belgium and then Holland, and then after that Australia, New Zealand tour. But my family still live in Dubai, so I stopped over see them for a bit. After the Australia, New Zealand stuff, came back to Dubai. I was just sitting there, but I was just like, what the fuck? Like, feel like I've been sent back to square. Come all of this way.
Man, yeah.
Now you're just sitting back at your parents' house without fucking without a visa. Anyway, so basically I just flipped it up and I spoke to the Noisier guys, and I said, would you mind if I come and stay with you guys for a bit, because obviously they have their studios there. It's in Europe. I can go and do all of my European shows without having flying in and out of Dubai on the weekends for shows is quite expensive. So
just for sorry man, just jump in, but just for our audience who don't know who Noisier are, like, who are Noisier then? Just
basically, Noisier are drum and bass producers, drum and bass electronic producers from Groningen, which is a small town in the north of Holland.
Right.
But when Noisier came on the scene, they literally fucked the whole game up. You know what I mean? There's if you look at the history of drum and bass, there's certain producers who come in and change the game, like whether it's Photech, Dillinger, or Noisier. You know what I mean? There's certain people. You know what I mean? There's like certain benchmark producers who came. There are many of them. Noisier, one of these newer guys, kind of who came out and literally changed the game with their production. Until this day, they're like the most respected sound design artists in drum and bass, and also kind of in a wider electronic music scene. They're like the MF Doom of electronic music production. Do you know what I'm saying? That's where I would categorize them.
Yeah.
We'd already put a bunch of collaborations out with them. Anyway, so I was living at their manager's house, and Sonny Skrill, because he was in this band called From First to Last. I think he'd done a solo project, and then this was his second solo project. So he'd recorded an album. The label were like, none of them were really into it, so he's like, all right, so he decided to come to Europe to meet Noisier, Borgor, and some guy called Mustard Seed or something.
Right.
To work on some projects. Anyway, he really gelled with Noisier. Came back, and we were just living we just literally got to Holland at the same time. We were living in Walter, like, Noisier's manager's house for a month. And this is like, he'd already had his famous career as, Sonny Moore, From First to Last, all of that stuff. But this is before the Skrillex stuff. Skrillex was a little side project that he'd started,
Right.
He would be sitting in the cinema, he's showing me his little Skrillex thing with like his 3,000-4,000 followers on Twitter and shit like that. It was like, oh, cool. And it was like a little electro bassy side project that he'd started. Anyway, so he'd recorded a whole other noise album with Noisier, which would have, I think if it dropped, it would have fucked the game up. But the negotiations were taking too long between the management, so while that was going on, he would already started doing all of the Skrillex stuff, the Scary Monsters and Nice Bright CP that came out on Deadmaster's label. So while he was waiting to do all of that stuff, he just dropped that EP. We done a collaboration on there and a few other things that happened, and dropping that on Mousetrap on Deadmaster's label, it literally just became the biggest electronic music album in the world at that point, which launched his Skrillex career. So shelved the album that he'd done with Noisier. Yeah, so then he literally went and just fucking done a Skrillex on the whole game, you know what I mean? And it was cool. So
that's sick, man. That's sick. Now, again, the Foreign Beggars journey goes everywhere.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not just hip hop, man. It ain't just the rap game. Like, you are switching it up.
Yeah.
But like, if we're talking about Beggars though, I need to just ask you. Look, I saw you were saying that you're gonna call time on it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, to be real with you, it's not something I necessarily fully wanted to do myself, but I think myself and Metropolis, we've got very different approaches to making music, you know, approaches to like the business aspect of it, you know. I think for a while he's kind of wanted to do his own thing, and, you know, kind of wanted to explore what he wants to do with music. And I think with the way that Beggars works is that there's so much shit going on all the time. So it's like, even if he does take a month out to focus on his own shit, inevitably there's going to be some shit where like, oh, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this track, we got to go do these shows. And things like, we don't necessarily make pop music, you know. We've had charts, you know, chart songs and what have you, but we're not like living that pop structured organized life. So we rely a lot on the live shows. So we've been touring for since 2003, pretty much non-stop, you know. Damn. It's like 17 years hardcore, putting out records and touring, you know, relentlessly. Also, like, there's a lot of adversity that we've faced with, you know, the immigration stuff that I have to go through. And, you know, like, he's also got a family, he's got kids, you know. No Names has just had kids as well. And basically, I think it's like, for something to like continue to, you know, the trajectory to, you know, for it to be a proper trajectory, you know, everyone's energy needs to be kind of working in symbiosis. And I think, like, if somebody feels creatively they're feeling some friction, you know, it's not going to work. It's going to implode eventually. So take some time. We decided he wants to do his side projects, and I mean, not side projects, he wants to do his own thing. So yeah, of course it's a blessing. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not in this thing of like, oh, you have to do. You can't force somebody to make fucking, you know, makes and do something they don't want to do. Do you know what I mean? Especially when he's given 17 years of his life to this project, you know, and he wants to grow as you know, just like respect his own explorations, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So in doing that, I was like, all right, cool, you know. Interestingly, because like for me, Foreign Beggars has always been my main thing, you know. So I put that before myself as an artist, you know what I mean, as well. So like for me, I'm happy because I love Foreign Beggars and it's our baby, it's our creation. You know, a lot of people have always asked me when I'm going to do my solo shit, but I was like, you know, I could do my solo show, I could just do this crazy Foreign Beggars shit that we got popping. So it's kind of pushed me into a space where like, it's a challenge, you know what I'm saying? You know, so I kind of like, you know, we just decided to actually give it an end date. You know, we're going to give it to the end of the year. I've got another album that we've done. It's going to come out at some point this year. It's already in the bag.
That's a solo joint,
No, this is a Foreign Beggars project.
Okay.
So there is another Foreign Beggars project that's, you know, we've done, which we're going to drop at some point.
Oh, that'd be heavy.
Yeah, it's nice, man. It's a special, it's very emotive, and I think that all the OG hip-hop fans will really like it. It's much more of a musical thing, you know? It's kind of a return to the source kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, man, I think, you know, the way I see it is like, you know, I can keep in the safety zone of doing Foreign Beggars, or I can actually step it up, you know what I mean? Put myself out there, start afresh, and kind of have that, you know, I think the kind of people that we are anyways, like, you know, if we're too comfortable, we're not necessarily going to push the boundaries, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like by ending Foreign Beggars at this point, even putting the album out and not necessarily doing like an album tour to follow it up, kind of puts us in this position where I'm in a dangerous position, because that financially that puts me in a situation. Musically, I got to come up with new shit and deliver it, start a new project from scratch. And also immigration wise, it's kind of put me in a situation because I live here on like a Foreign Beggars visa. You know what I'm saying?
Snap.
So Foreign Beggars gives me my artist visa to stay in this country. So it's like I'm just having to reevaluate my whole existence, you know what I mean? Like where I'm going to live, where I'm going to get my money from, what my new music's going to sound like, and then just to purely back it off, you know, fully go through and do it off music. Independently at this point, we don't have a record deal. So it's like any money that I've saved in my life, I've already, you know, started putting into this thing. So I'm like, everything is brinking at the same time, you know? It's just like, I think unless you put yourself in those uncomfortable positions, you're not going to come up with...
You got to go for it.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't half-ass it when your fucking life is on the line.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
Man.
So it's
not
like,
a
you know,
lot of people in that same situation, man.
You know
Some people
what I mean?
just want to make a record, make a mixtape, whatever. You're talking about like, this is like more than
you
that.
know, I'm 38 now. I'm going to be 39 next week.
Yeah.
And suddenly I'm in a situation where I don't have a country to live in, and I don't have any money left, and all I got is this music. You know, it's just like,
man.
yo!
Yeah, man, that is scary. Like, joy is scary, but there's that kind of sense of like, fuck it. You just got to do this shit. That's it.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like by hook or by crook, it has to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
But so you guys are going to be touring for the rest of the year then? Is it till like 2019, yeah?
Yeah.
So like, first of all, anyone who's out there from the UK listening on, you got to get yourself down to one of these gigs. I remember one of my favourite gigs I've ever been to, period.
Yeah.
Was a Foreign Beggars show in Aldgate. And you might not even remember this, right? But we were there. I brought my boy, he's never seen you before. And the power went. And there's like, you boys just killing it on stage. And the power just went.
Yeah.
The whole high street had gone. And there was no power. And it was like, oh shit, in the middle of your set, and we were like, fuck, what are we gonna do? Like, we were like, oh well, we'll just kick it, we'll go in. It was cool. We got to see like about half your set, and I remember you was like, nah, fuck that, nah, we ain't doing that. It's like, right, everyone from the stage got on the floor, and you were like, right, who here is there any MCs here? Whatever, any MCs, and all the crowd got together, and I think Stigger the Dump was there. I think a few other people were there, and you boys just started freestyling, man, passing the mic around the crowd, and it was one of the best like things, like, especially for people who don't make music. I was standing next to you guys and Stig and all these people, and you were all just like freestyling off top of the dome. I remember just when we were on the way home, there was such a buzz, and I was like you can't even sell that shit. Like, you can't label that shit. That's if you bottle that shit and put a label on it, that's hip hop, mate. That is the culture. That is the artistry and thing we live for, man. And the energy you bring on live shows is always like one of the things that I know a lot of my mates who are fans of yours always talk about. So if you're touring, mate, people are going to have to get down to them gigs, man.
I appreciate that, man. I mean, for me, it's like, if I've gone somewhere and for some reason I can't do the show, like, that is the worst thing ever for me. So it's like, the power cutting out, I'm not going to be like, oh, fuck, the show's fucked up. I'm like, nah, everyone's still here. We can have a party. Like, we're going to smash this. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that you were able to leave with that experience, the fact that I know that that's possible, it's not gonna, you know what I mean? I'm gonna find a way to make that happen, because that is what's given me my whole life force. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, man. That's the culture. That's goes beyond just writing, and you feel the love. I think that's the thing where I was like, do you know what? I'm blessed to be even in this kind of culture and being part of it, and even taking a take in it, like this podcast. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Killer Keller inside the place. You're rocking with the Crate 808 podcast, okay? Do your thing, you know what to do? Log on or jog on. Subscribe, rate, share, leave comments, share with your friends. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell another friend to tell another friend, okay? This is the one, Killer Keller. Enjoy.
Talking to like, not gonna lie, it's gonna be sad to see the Beggars like end up. But like, if you're wrapping that up, I'm loving to see what you're gonna come up with in the future. But if we're talking about the future, I would love to just know your thoughts on like the hip hop scene at the moment, like the state of the culture at the moment, like broadly speaking, like where do you think hip hop's at right now?
It's incredible, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's incredible. Like, I mean, I think there's obviously a situation where, you know, lots of questionable big brands know how to capitalize off it, but at the same time, it's an incredible opportunity structure for anybody in the world. Look at the fact that hip hop is blowing up in India right now. India traditionally has been a place where censorship laws are so ridiculous. Everything has to be super sugar coated. Everything's top down. Everything's glistening. You know, the people get what they get given to by the powers that be. Finally, now it's like all of those people have been oppressed and suppressed, have got a voice, and it's through the pure elements of hip hop. And like, rappers are coming up and they're being really creative, and it's kind of giving a lot of people a voice, and it's giving a lot of people careers, and it's giving a lot of people opportunity structures. I think people want to talk about, look, traditionally, if we talk about, people want to complain about the state of the culture, this and that shit these days, you know what I mean? Okay, fine, there's really weird fucking, like, you know, evolutions of versions of hip hop which don't necessarily adhere to the traditional, you know, the traditional kind of parameters, but at the same time, it's like, this is a bastard off, you know, child of hip hop, but at the same time, as a real hip hop person, you couldn't just make that music either. Do you know what I'm saying? This is the similar, you know, argument I had with back in the day when, or hearing like, you know, maybe about 8-10 years ago, you hear like, you know, like hip hop heads complaining about grime and saying it's whack and it's not good enough, or you're saying this is like a watered down, dumb version of hip hop. It's like, it's an entirely different discipline, you know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how good a fucking rap, not how legendary, bad man, sick rapper you are from our generation, you could not come on a grime track and fucking deliver a grime track with the right kind of conviction to get, you know what I mean? It's a separate art form, and I think
definitely.
If you look at rap music and hip hop culture in the UK, is the strongest it's ever been, ever. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, look at what's happened this last week with like those little like football team freestyle things that are coming out. Like Big Zoo's done one, Nutty P's done one, Kamikaze's done one. You know, the regional grime MCs kind of doing like a 64 bar shellers about their football team. You know, those have all dropped. You know, I think like now you could take an artist like Stormzy, which can go from kicking a freestyle to a phone in a car park with the man them. That freestyle will go to the charts. Do you know what I'm saying? And within a year and a half, he's one of the most influential artists in the country, who is less than 24 years old, and he's on the Forbes list, and he's giving scholarships to black, inner city youth to go to fucking Cambridge. That's
like
where
crazy
hip hop
shit.
is at right now in the UK. Do you know what I mean? So it's like anybody who's going to complain about this or that or the type of artist, I think it's gone to a point where, like, I think the strangest thing about the UK is that the fact that this is the last place to have its own rap superstars. And I think I put that down to the aid of the fact that there's several things, because obviously that kind of a person in the media is it's a very, very, very strong voice. So kind of I can see how the BBC bottleneck kind of held that down for X amount of years. Maybe there wasn't the artist that could have done it. There were many artists that could have done it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like it took somebody like Giggs to bust down the fucking door.
Dizzy as well. Dizzy, man.
Dizzy did a lot. Dizzy as a grime artist, but also he had the backative of XL Recordings.
True.
It was a cherry-picked artist, and it was a really interesting progressive media sell. Do you know what I'm saying? But then even then, he made a lot of pop records. It's like he didn't get to the charts off a tune or Shut Up. You know what I mean? Like,
so there's an authenticity to this kind of thing that's going a bit more mainstream, or not even mainstream. It's like the gatekeepers aren't the gatekeepers like they used to be, right?
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it.
Imagine a person like, for example, like Kalashnikov, or Skinny Man or Jest. One of these guys kind of bust down the door, and like the shit that they were talking about, it would have been much, could have been a bit too revolutionary for a lot of people to deal with at that point. You know what I mean? And imagine. It's the beautiful thing now is like anybody can fucking do it. And like if you look at the Mercuries last year, who was in there? It was J Hus, Loyal Kana, Kate Tempest. Three completely different aspects of the rap music from this country.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's like it's connected with the youth, and it's kind of multi-generational, and you can come out and you can be an artist like Cass is Dead.
Oh my Cass
Do you know what I'm saying?
Kills it.
Which is one of the most. Come on. The whole thing that he does, or you can be a Stormzy, or you can now be like, you could come out and be like Unknown T, even like all of these new drill artists, they represent a new generation of people. But then there's still place for an artist like Foreign Beggars, or there's still place for a Jest, or there's still place for it's beautiful. It's like, man, the whole it's a really wide spectrum.
Black Twang, Ty and Rodney P doing their thing as well. They're coming back. It's like this is what I'm saying. I'm so glad you said that, man, because I'm one of them people that's, I feel like sometimes I'm a bit solo on this, because like all the peeps I have around me, as we grow older, they become more solidified. But then I feel in their camps, like especially because we were more American hip hop influence, and then got into UK hip hop later. No one I know hates the UK game. Like Little Sims' album, we're all banging about
that's
that.
What I'm saying,
right? That
Look
album,
at Little Sims, man.
mate. Dave as well. Like all these people.
Dave, #1 album in the country, bro.
That's what I'm saying,
like,
man.
Are you mad?
And I feel like there's this kind of, but I suppose it happens with every culture that gets older, like rock. So I can imagine like the hippies from the 60s and 70s, when it got to the 90s, they were like, yeah, but this ain't Pink Floyd, this ain't whatever.
Yeah.
So I can see it as an age thing, but I also think like a lot of it for me comes down to lyricism.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a lot of people who hear this new rap, especially coming from the Southern America, like when you hear that kind of trap sound, People are like shitting on it because, well, they don't give a shit about the lyrics.
But also at the same time, it's like there's all these like subtle nuances with the slang that old motherfuckers don't hear anymore.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, listen, if you listen to a bunch of drill tracks, like you can say, oh, these guys all sound the same. They're all talking about dip, pack this, rare. Do you know what I'm saying? Whatever.
Yeah.
But then if you listen to, you're not completely versed on all the slang, but then you're not versed on how they're flipping the slang in the context of what they're talking about. It's not the same as fucking when Cannibal Ox came out. But you know what I'm saying? But like certain rappers, if you're trying to rap like that now, you just sound corny as fuck.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Or you can do it, but you have your lane to do that shit.
Yeah, but listen to the kind of fucking wordplay Dave drops. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you're a real hip hop head, if you're a real hip hop head, if you're from that era of like Pharoah Monch, you know what I'm saying? If you're from that lyricist now era of everything,
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? There's no way you can listen to Wretch 32 and say he's not being lyrical. You might think some things might go over your head, but then listen to it again and again and again, and then you'll shit your pants. You know what I'm saying? But then even listen to the wordplay on the Gets album.
Yes, mate. Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's exactly. Again, look how many artists we've listed.
Yeah,
and people moan like people. I still have people moaning, but I feel you. I'm glad you still got that love.
Yeah, man.
I feel like there's the potential for where we're going is limited, especially with shit like Spotify now, and like even things like you can just SoundCloud's been done its shit. There's something else going to be around the corner, man. Definitely. And this brings me on to something that I see that you guys have, well, yourself off, you've been pimping the Brap app, right?
Yeah.
So break down Brap for all the people that are listening right now.
Basically, Brap is it's like a music social network. So, but Brap is set up like Instagram, except producers can upload beats as well. So beats will show up in your feed, and if you like a beat, you can save it. And then when you go to record a video, you can open the beat bank, which is like any of the beats that you save from the producers. Select that, put your headphones on. So when you go to make your video, you can perform on the beat, you can perform on the track.
That's it.
Yeah. So it's like you're making a video with the beat playing in the background. Then you can give it a little studio mix down to make it sound good. So like just sort the levels out, bit of compression, EQ, reverb, and then put some video filters on it and share it. Now when you share it with your friends and followers, whoever's beat is, whoever's the producer, their phone will go brrrr, and they can check and they'll see that somebody's just performed on their track, and if they like it, they can connect with that artist. So
that's
it's like
sick.
Producers and artists connecting from all over the world, you know what I'm saying? And
That
it's kind
is
of like
sick.
an informal thing, so there's no like, hey, can you send me some beats, can you check out my shit? So it's like, it's in a fun context, but then if you see an artist you can be like, yo, bam, I fucks with you, let's make a record. So it's just
Love that.
literally connecting artists all over the world. So we've got about 30,000 people on there now,
That's
heavy,
mate.
producers in over 100 producers and artists from over 100 countries, just fucking around and making stuff.
And this is what I'm saying. I personally, I've never heard anything like that before.
Yeah.
Like, I know people like on Insta, especially like selling beats and shit like that. I can see
Yeah.
all that, but like this sounds like, again, as technology goes
Yeah.
more and more wild, who fucking knows where we're going to end up, man? And,
Yeah,
and
man.
that's a nice step into like, what's the word? Freeing these bedroom MCs, not even MCs, just artists.
Exactly. I
Just
mean, like,
artists.
people who don't necessarily have access. You know what I'm saying? I know kids in like the cut in Madhya Pradesh making grime beats, but there's no fucking grime MCs around there. So I can put a beat up, put a hashtag grime, or if you're looking for a 140 BPM beat, that shit'll show up in your feed. You can follow and
That's
connect.
sick, man.
So
let's bring it back to the rap, man. Let's bring it back to hip hop. Like,
Yeah.
I like to get all the guests that I have on. You've worked with a lot of artists, producers, DJs, shit like that. But what I really want to know, man, your top 5 MCs. I need to have top 5 MCs for this shit.
God damn, bro. It's like whoever the fuck is playing on the radio. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, yo, this guy's my favorite for this reason.
Disclaimer, right? Disclaimer. Before we get into this, first of all, I don't see top 5 MCs as solid. Like, they're always interchangeable.
Yeah.
And 2, your enthusiasm is fucking off the chain. So I
Yeah.
can imagine like you wanted to change this tomorrow when you hear a new MC. But for right now, if you were going to say your favourite top 5 MCs,
My favorite top 5 MCs right now are I'd probably have to say Doom, Gets, Cass is Dead. Bruv, there's many, but there's many for different reasons, man. I have to put Bus in there as well.
serious? That's a big shout, man.
Yeah,
but
Bruv,
I back it.
If you for my style and for what he does, his dexterity and his conviction, longevity, and
seen him live?
Bruv, for me, that was one of the most educational shows I've seen in my life, bro. I saw him live in New York, '97, and it was fabulous. And then Snoop, and then Sunset show, which was Bus, and it was like Skinny Bus. It was like him when he was
Old school
still
Bus,
eager,
yeah.
old school Bus, and
Yeah.
Flip and Split Star, and then 50 Cent was after that. And
That sounds like
the sun set over his set, and he just came up and fucked it up, like, because him playing between all of those artists, what I mean, like, he's hungry, so it's like he came on stage hungry to fuck it up, and seeing that shit that set the bar for me, as
It's that energy live, man. It's
there's
that energy live, yeah.
There's a few artists that seen Scorsese live for the first time, Skinny Man live for the first time, Busta Rhymes, and then a couple of other shows. Those are the ones that really. That was like, okay, cool. This is how you do a rap show. You know what I mean? This is where you got to start. This is where you got to start.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, so you're at 3, right?
Four.
Four. So you got one spot left to fill.
Thurston Howell the Third.
Ooh.
Fuck it. Old school Thurston.
Old school Thurston,
old school Thurston, yeah.
Okay, that's nostalgia right there a little bit as well, yeah.
No, nostalgia, but it's also the way he rapped, man. It's like, oh fuck, I didn't get Redman in there.
Oh, Redman was.
Yeah, you know
silly,
what?
mate.
I probably have to say Redman over Thurston Howell.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a strong 5 though, man.
Both, but yeah.
I fucked you up right a little bit now. You're like, for fuck's
Bro, you can't do a top 5, man.
I know, but do you know what it is? The reason I started this whole thing as well is I feel like hip hop heads just love to chat shit.
Yeah.
Like, we love it. So top 5 is just a thing we talk about.
Yeah.
You're on the bus, it's boring, you're tired. All right, top 5 producers from 94 to 97. Just some shit like that, innit? Just to get you through the day sometimes, isn't it?
Of course.
So it's just going on from that. Like, if we're talking about 90s artists,
Yeah.
who would you say is aged the best from the 90s scene?
I mean, Puffy probably looks like he aged the best for the Botox and all of that shit. No, I'm talking shit. Who's what do you mean? Who's aged? Who's still a credible artist till this day? Or whose music still sounds.
Yeah, I mean,
fresh.
the way I look at it is the fact that someone who's still bringing something, and you're like, oh snap, that still bangs.
I don't know. It's probably either Doom or Buster, isn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say Doom. Doom is my boy. He has not fallen off at all. In fact,
Doom's done a couple of dickhead things.
Oh, you're talking about the latest quotes and shit?
Not the latest quotes and all of that stuff. I think the whole sending the fake Doom out, which is interesting. But he's done a couple of other dickhead things to people I know directly who booked him. Like I'll hot him up for. I don't give a fuck. So they booked him. He was in London and the money was sent to the agent. And then he's like, I'm not coming to the show. Bring me the cash. They had to take the cash out again. Went to meet him in the hotel. Gave him the cash. So he's been paid twice. And then he still sent a fake Doom to the show. And I'm like, yo, bro.
Mate,
I mean, because that's also fucking up. There's people who, independent people who go out of their way to uphold your career and back you and do it because they fucking love you. You know what I mean? And then to fuck those people over, do you know what I mean? What is there to gain? I mean, for your own personal gain for your, but you know what I mean? But then doing that double, there comes a point where it's like, it's not biting the hand that feeds you. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's abuse. That's child abuse. That's abusing your children.
Yeah, man. The way I look at it, this ain't a game, man. This ain't a game.
So I was people. For a minute, I wasn't even able to listen to any new, Doom. And I haven't listened to the JJ Doom record that came out.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, because at that time I was just like, when someone's that much of a dick, you're like, oh, you know what, fuck you, But in terms of if a Doom track comes on, it's time's the healer, whatever. But you know what I mean? I think as an artist who's aged, who's still that's that shit is fucking still cold as fuck. I'd say LP.
Oh man,
do you know what I'm saying?
Big time.
LP is probably
big time.
One of the guys who's he made Company Flow, whole of Def Jux, and now he's fucking he's now running Jewels as a fucking you know what I mean?
Balling, mate. And again, one of my takes for hip hop generally coming from I'm similar age as you, so it feels like I've been in the game for a minute. It feels like God, I've seen so many things change, especially compared to other genres. Hip hop is one of the genres that ages the best for me. If you look at 90s artists, people like MCs that were heavy in the 90s are maybe even better now. Black Thought is one that comes to mind. Method Man. I'm hearing these people now and I'm like, damn, you still sound hungry.
Yeah, it's weird because it's also very fresh and very new. But I think there's, as long as you don't fall off, you can make a place for yourself, and I think you can come out with any kind of an album just as long as it's kind of fresh and new, and real to what you are.
Definitely, mate. So just coming back to one thing you were saying there about gigs, and you were talking about how you went to the Busta Rhymes Sunset, killing it. Bro. Have you got any other favourite gigs?
Yeah, next favourite gig, I think it was 96, 97, Subterranea.
Oh,
Lewis Sterling, she had this brand called Lewis Sterling that she's putting out, the streetwear thing. She's married to C-Law designer, old school writer, from Spine Mag era, Anyway, so she was launching a brand. Skinny Man was headlining. It was the first time he brought out Nova and Big Ben. And they were 15, you know what I'm saying? Same day I met Natty from Def Con Records. It was a proper UK moment that day, man. Anyway, so seeing the show, I can't remember who was before, but then Skinny Man comes on, kills the show, literally just bun the place down to the point where it was like fucking, it was like education.
Yeah.
Education at the sickest party ever. And then as soon as the show was done, it was a shutdown. Everyone was almost spudding each other to go home kind of thing. This little chubby guy comes on the stage and he's solo, and he's voice ain't even broken yet. Comes on the mic, he's like, yo, my name's Scores, I'm from Nottingham. And I was like, oh fuck, poor guy, man. I was I felt bad for him because he's not even from London, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And he sounds like he's from Nottingham as well.
Yeah, he sounds like he's a Nottingham, squeaky little voice, fat dude, and I was like, fuck. And not even, and Skinny Man just done that in London. He shut the place down, and I was like, shit, I feel bad for this guy. Anyway, beat dropped. Within 2 bars, he fucking tore the house down, bro.
Is it?
He literally went from that show where Skinny's ended and then bang brought it straight back up and fucked it up. So it was
and no one knew him. No one knew who he was.
No, I mean maybe some people knew him, you know what I'm saying? It was this is, I think it might have even been, this is pre-Out DeVille times, you know what I mean?
Oh snap, so he's young.
Yeah, bro, he was 16. You know what I'm saying?
Jeez, man.
And I come into full Subterranea after Skinny shut it down and just fucked the place up, and literally you just turned the party back on, and it was like, bang, here's another show. So for me that night there was 2 shows, like you know, back to back, and also the fact that you could come on after like that and still bring the heat. Yeah, so that was another very inspirational.
Do you know
show
what?
for me.
I miss Subterranean, man.
Yeah,
Like again, we came in late, so I'd moved to London in '99.
Yeah.
But we started going like early '99. I remember the first time I ever saw Skinny Man was at Subterranean. We went to, can't remember what gig it was. It was just, again, killed it. That venue always killed it.
Yeah.
And we were coming out, and there was like there was a skinny white guy, and he was about to brook up some boy. Like he was like on his own against like this gang of youth, and we were like walking out. I was like, shit, man, that guy's gonna get fucked up.
Yeah.
And my mate from Tooting was with me. He's like, nah, that's Skinny Man. He was like, nah, he's all good.
Yeah.
And I was walking past, like, really, who's Skinny Man? They're like, I don't even know who he was at 99.
Yeah.
Like to me, not even
Yeah.
on my radar. And then, bang, you hear it, you see him all the time. Then you
Yeah.
realise he is deep in the game, and
Bruv.
man, Can't State of Mind, man. That's still for me probably my favourite UK hip hop, one of my favourite albums ever. Anyway, generally,
Bro, I reckon Skinny's the first guy who could have gone to New York at that time and fucked it up, got the co-sign, and with his storytelling abilities, how actual, how G he is in
he
life.
was it, mate. He
Bruv.
was. It's like ODB. You know when you see ODB, right, on TV and shit?
Yeah.
There's no sheen. There's
Yeah.
no, like, character.
Yeah.
That's him,
Yeah.
mate. That is how he is. It's exactly how I see Skinny Man. Every
Yeah,
time I
man.
see him about, it's like, there ain't no playing,
he's
mate.
just,
That's how
he's
he
just
is.
very certain, you know what I mean? His talent, his respect for the art form, his
Yeah.
knowledge, and just he's a fucking one of the most ballsiest dudes I ever met, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
man.
I reckon if he'd gone to New York them times, yeah, like 96, 97, he would have been signed within a matter of months, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So wrapping this up, mate, a few little questions that I like to ask all my guests.
Yeah.
Talk about the 90s era. You can't help but think that bling was a massive thing back then.
Yeah.
So I want to just know, what's the blingiest thing you ever bought?
What, in the 90s?
Whenever, man. But if there's one certain 90s one, I'd love to hear that as well. But like, yeah.
Just fucking some ridiculous clothes, bro. Like, I got this one tracksuit when I was like 16. Like, I shoot myself in the head. I didn't buy the whole thing. I just bought the trousers.
Oh, okay.
Like Gianfranco Ferre tracksuit. I should have bought the top as well. Till this day, I've shoot myself, but I just felt I was fronting. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm not Ghostface. I can't pull this off. Walking around Dubai. You know what I'm saying? So I bought part of the outfit. I should have bought the whole thing.
Yeah.
But-
Isn't that true though? Isn't it? Like, it translates in your brain. That'll look heavy. That looks wicked in them
Yeah.
videos. And you put it on. You're like walking around. Like I'm walking around Yorkshire with like.
Yeah,
these
you're going to fucking
that-
wimpy and shit. Like,
It's not the same, is
gonna
it?
get a shawarma and look at that fucking. Anyway,
Exactly,
but
man.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know, man. I got like, I don't know. I'm just fucking. I wouldn't say stupid, but if I see something I want, then I can get it.
Any good grills? I see you with a few grills in the.
Grills, got some grills. Yeah, there was one year, man. I think it was about 2006 or 7. I was gonna buy sunglasses. We were traveling a lot through a lot of airports, and I'd see glasses, and I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, I can't be walking around with these like fucking shitty Ray-Bans. I was like, let me just get these Bulgari ones, or let me just get these. Yeah, I'm just not very like meticulous or strategic and organized with my things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm a bit all over the place, so I say I'm a bit rock star with my shit. Yeah, actually I'm a waste man. But anyway, so I managed to keep a hold of these glasses for about 3 or 4 weeks. I'd lose them, and I'd be like, fuck. It's like, spend 250, 280 pounds on some glasses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, oh shit. But then, like, we're doing quite a lot of shows, this, that. I've got to look swaggy, so then dang, buy the Versace ones. And then obviously they get lost after a few weeks. So then I clocked this year, I spent like two and a half bags just on sunglasses,
Damn, son.
and I lost them all.
Oh man, that's
So I lose
kick.
my I lose my shit all the time, or like I lose my shit, or I give it away to people. You know what I mean? People like, oh god, look that, wear my shit. It looks so looks good on someone. I'm like, yeah, keep it.
Oh man, that's good, man.
Yeah,
the love
it's good,
is real.
except fucking, and I don't know. I have to go and buy more shit for you. No, it's all love, man. It's all love.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, anyway, so I spent
it translates,
a
mate.
little bit too much on sunglasses that year, but that's also like, we're not making that, we're making proper underground UK boom bap shit. It's not like I was balling, you know what I mean?
You're not Jim Jones.
Yeah.
You're not Cameron. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Although I can see you in all pink.
Yeah,
See,
bro.
man. So man, right. So before we finish this up, we just love to talk about Wu, man, because we were just so big. They're just enormous. And there's always like, every time I talk to someone new, they always tell me about the Wu banger that they love. And I'll be, oh shit, I didn't even think that, wasn't even clocked on my radar. Or I've heard it, but I've never heard it like the same. So like people, for instance, like people have talked about Click Click being their favourite Wu banger.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if there's any slept on Wu bangers that you love, that you think people need to go back and revisit and we could put on a playlist.
I don't know, man. I think there's like an emotional connection to certain things, man. Obviously, like 36, that album is actually God. Do you know what I mean? That album is as important as Michael Jackson's whole career. Do you know what I'm saying?
I feel you, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's up there. I'd say,
So
you know, for
influential.
me, like, Reunited, man, is a fucking joint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, because it's like, I think there's like an emotional connection for me with that, because what we were doing at the time. You know what I mean? It was like we were like young kids out at night doing graffiti, smoking. And like that was the soundtrack to just
Reunited.
You know what I mean? Like literally just skating, boombox, painting graffiti, smoking hash, linking up with, you know, rappers and graffiti writers and skaters from all over the world. You know, on some underworld illegal shit. You know.
Yeah,
like,
man.
You know what I mean?
Reunited, though. That gives me a little different angle on that track. Because again, a track I love, but it's like, when's that time I revisited that? But I'm going to bump that now. I'm going to bump that, definitely. Okay, I like that. Pav, good shout. So, tell me, what's the future hold? Is there anything to plug? What's Orifice up to for the next year or so?
Okay, so I'm about to do something really, really weird. Not really weird, but because I've been into so many different types of music, which I think has been a little bit confusing for Foreign Beggars fans at times, I'm actually compartmentalizing this. So I'm launching two separate rap careers at the same time. One, which is, it's like really hard, dark. It's kind of US focused. It's on Never Say Die Records, just under Vulgatron.
Okay.
And it's just really dark, hard dubstep, grime, crossover. Like, it's brutal, you know?
Okay.
And that's one side. And then I got my other side, which is under my own name, but spelled Pav4N. So it's Pavan, but 4N, you know, kind of throws back to Foreign Beggars and all of that shit. Anyway, so that's me. And I'm kind of taking it back to India with that one, man. So just like, you know, with the fact that there really is proper rap scene in India, I'm from there. My visa's probably going to run out. So I'm launching that, you know, kind of just connecting with the roots, and I've got a whole new persona image. It's gonna, and I'm approaching that from a much more kind of artistic, high art perspective. You know, it's like a more holistic vision of a bit more spiritual, a bit more depth to it. But then kind of connecting with, I say, ancient spiritual roots to a degree, but also kind of tackling a lot of you know, my personal stuff.
Oh,
you know?
sweet, man.
Yeah, just like the shit that, you know, like being a displaced individual for, you know, several. My parents, my grandparents had to leave where we're from in India because they're Hindus, and it's in Sindh. My granddad moved to Lebanon, and then the war broke out there, so kids had to leave there and go to Wales, and then they couldn't stay there. So, and then my granddad moved to Dubai, set up a business there. I was born in Dubai, but I'm still an Indian citizen, so I'm not, you know, from there. I'm over here. I can't live here because I have an Indian passport. You know what I mean? All of that kind of shit.
It's quite nomadic, right?
Do you know what I'm saying? Also the fact that like I'm an Indian person. If somebody asks me where I'm from, I say India. If I'm in England, somebody says, where are you from? I say India, but they're like, oh, but you're not really Indian. But I say Dubai, but like I'm not really, you know, I'm not Dubai. They'll be like, oh, where are you from in England? I'm like, I say London. But then if I meet a Londoner and say, where you from? I'm like, I'm not actually, you know what I mean? I lived everywhere, but I'm not, you know, I haven't got roots in any part of London. Anyway, so it's kind of tackling all of those kind of issues, but yeah, just on some rap shit.
I'm looking forward to seeing that, man. I like hearing that shit, definitely. Yeah. You were saying there was some like Indian hip hop's kicking off, right?
Bruh.
Tell me some artists. Give me some tips. I need to get into that.
Obviously, there's, you know, my boys who blew up very, very hard. They made that Gully Boy film about them. It's a guy called Divine and another rapper called Nazy.
This is all on Spotify and shit, right? Or,
yeah, man. Yeah. Divine. Look up Nazy the Bar. He's out there. There's a guy called MC Altaf, who's an underground guy coming up. There's a record label called Azadi Records, right? Basically, it's a guy from here who's moved over. A guy called Mo Styles, worked with Chaiwalas. Anyway, he's back there in Chandigarh, and he set up this label called Azadi Records, AZADI Records, and all of the artists on there are about to do some incredible things. There's a group called Side Maut, and that's spelled SEEDEMAUT, which means like straight murkage. That's what it means, straight, like death. And they're about to fuck the game up, man. And it's like the lyrics are really progressive, styles are banging. Shit's just world class, man. So just check it. There's so many artists coming out, and there's like more than like 60-70 different like regional languages that people are spitting in. You know what I mean? So there's guys from Kashmir, there's guys from Kerala, there's guys from Madras, there's guys from Coimbatore, there's guys from different parts of Punjab, you know. So just literally go check. Even, you know, a place to start is check out desihiphop.com. That's got a lot of commercial stuff on there.
Okay.
But just go to MC Altaf's page. There's also, you know, all the Bombay guys like Seven Bunties. There's some really sick girls out there rapping.
Is it?
Yeah,
Mate,
bro.
that's what I'm talking
Bro,
about,
it's
man.
popping.
Sounds...
Just go to Azadi Records.
Yeah.
And then check out their artists, and then just, you know, obviously just follow where it takes you.
Yeah, man. Love it. Love it. Well, mate, Vulgatron, thank you so much for coming in, man. Seriously. Do you know what, mate? Door's always open. If you want to discuss a 90s album or something like that, or bring something like that, we're always here, man. So,
all right, wicked, man.
Yeah, man.
I might
definitely
send some artists your way, bro.
Oh, mate, standard. Definitely, man. Love that. Love that. Well, there we go, another episode of Crate 808, and what a brilliant guy Orifice Vulgatron is for coming on in and just sharing his experiences with us and his love for hip-hop, man. I really enjoyed that chat. If you got any feedback, please do drop it us at Twitter at Crate808, or hit us up on Instagram at Crate_808, or you can email us at Crate808@gmail.com. And just hit us up, man, and thank you for all the vibes and all the people out there, Grindhouse Music, who made our beats for this podcast. Big up, absolutely killer. Doing some good stuff out there. Shotgun the Orcs, Notorious POD, John, who runs that podcast, he's an absolute legend. Breaking Atoms, Swatches and Boomboxes, all the people we usually shout out, man. Go out, check all those people out. And yes, any feedback, just drop us a line, man. So on to the next time. Peace.